Alright, I have my exploding pizza roll here, and you know what time that is or means? Please never learn English for me. It is time to do 100 Days of Code. Day 14, I believe, which is a great result. And so by the end of the last episode, I was convinced that our solution to detect images or text within images is to find memes. So I'm going to go ahead and just go over to the Kaggle dataset. Boom. Okay, this is what I got. So basically the idea behind this is that, so here's a meme of Bernie. I'm just going to have a fun time with this too. Oh, the image isn't there. Hopefully these images are still up. Oh boy. Oh, this is actually perfect because, I'm gonna reduce my width here, but, look, we got, so many different kinds of text in here, and, some low res stuff, different colors. That's perfect. It's really great. So I feel like this is going to help create an actual machine learning model that's actually going to be a little bit flexible when it comes to recognizing text within images. You would think that it's such a basic thing since text has really well-defined contours. It's going to be ideally at least a very contrasted text color versus the background color. Not necessarily always the case, but almost always is. So what we're going to do for this is I just want to create a quick agenda in here. We're getting really fancy now. Just for the video, so that way I really know what goals I want to get to. We're going to have to find some way to download the images using the links, and that's really the first step. So download images through Imgur. By the way, it's GIF. You can stop watching now if you think it's GIF. I really don't care, but it's important to get very passionate about those internet pronunciations, right? So basically, we really do not care about sentiment analysis or anything. We're just trying to get the text here. Too good. But basically, it looks like everything has a unique ID attached to it, so that's what we'll save the image name as. And then we'll just hook up when we're reading the image. We'll probably add another column for a path and then just link to that. So on top of this, I want to say using the ID for the image. And then if there's a problem downloading the image, we're just going to delete the row because it doesn't help us. Alright, so for this, there's already some kernels made, so to not really have to worry about this, I'm going to just look to see how they actually ended up downloading the image. Okay, so there's a Python library that will help us do this, and then let's quickly go over to our data. Like Bernie, let's put in this link. So we should be good since this is technically an album. And that's perfect. That's just a really easy way to do this. So there's going to be a lot of images here because Bernie's dataset alone has 2,400 links. So I'm going to limit this and probably just start off with the smallest dataset that there is, or the smallest CSV there is inside of this dataset. We can do something like Gary Johnson, so that way it's not going to be too bad. Alright. So we're going to want to do a couple of things here. To actually go about getting the imgur links, imager, we need to load the CSV, not that, CSV inside of a pandas data frame, and then loop through each row, and then I think we're just going to want to save the images inside the CSV name, /image id dot jpeg or whatever it is. So that way we have unique folders for each image, and then we have the ID as well. So quite a few things we need to do. I think at this point this is going a little bit off of what our original goal was with like this code, so we're going to create a new file. I'm just naming this meme detector. I swear I know English. Alright, so we know a few things that we're going to need to import right away. Import pandas as PD. What? Okay, apparently I need to install pandas. We need to import numpy as np. I'm going to go ahead and also open up my anaconda prompt. I'm going to go cd into this directory, clear the screen, and then we're going to do activate, I think we name this meme recognizer. Nice, okay, cool. And then conda install pandas. I'm very surprised that I haven't installed this yet. While that's installing, we can just sort of create some boilerplate code. I actually don't remember this off the top of my head. Read CSV from pandas. So yeah, we'll just say we want to go with Gary Johnson df. It's going to be equal to pd.read CSV. Then we will pass in Gary_Johnson.csv. And so we loaded in the data frame, and then we need to loop through each row. Okay, there we go. This is how we iterate over rows. So we're using Gary Johnson. And then there's a couple of lines within the CSV that we're going to need to target. So we don't care about timestamp at all. We do care very much about ID, the link, and the caption. I'm just going to copy these three guys. Okay, so those are the guys that we want to target. And I just want to go ahead and print these out. We're also going to install the imgur downloader. I actually do not know how to say imgur or imager. Regardless, this is not working out for me. I'm going to do copy pasta, maybe. This doesn't want to work. This is fun. Okay, none of my packets really want to install right now, which is rough life. So we have the row, and then we're also going to have the caption here. So we're going to want to set these equal to variables. So the image, and then say Gary Johnson DF, and then Gary Johnson dir is going to be equal to Gary Johnson slash. That'll work. Okay. So the image ID is going to be equal to our row ID. The image link is going to be equal to our row link. And then our image caption is equal to row caption. Pretty straightforward. Now we can just use those variables, because we're going to need it for quite a few things. This is like nothing working right now. Okay. We're also going to want to import imgur downloader. And if we actually want to use this, I'm going to use something that looks a little bit like that. I'll have to see what the actual package name for it is. But nonetheless, I'm going to be passing in the image link for this. I don't know what this DNE is. Alright, I had to take a little bit of a break to actually get all of these packages installed, so I installed pandas and the imgur downloader. Might have to, yeah, so it is a lowercase thing, and we're going to use from imgur downloader, import imgur downloader, and there we go. So boom, now we are actually downloading from the image link and then saving the image, whichever way does that. And we'll see how you go about actually saving a full-on path. Okay, so this is absolutely perfect. So we can pass in 3 arguments. I'll delete these because I don't necessarily know what they do. The second one is going to be our directory. And then our third one is the image name, so we're going to use the image ID. And we can just see if this hopefully creates our file name with the ID, but also with an extension, whether it be a JPEG or a PNG. So we'll say Gary _Johnson. Boom. Okay. I'm just going to try running this. And see what happens. A module named error. Alright, so I ended up just going to sleep after I started getting into this, and today I found out that my environment that I have been using is actually using Python 2.7. I have no idea how I've been running the Python files, but that was the reason I was getting all the errors while trying to run the imgur downloader, so I have fixed that. And I also added string to this because it needs to be passed in as a string, but still the image ID. So now that we were there, I ran this just to do a little test, and you can see that we were downloading the memes. And the great thing is that these are just some good memes. But obviously, like, you have different colored text within the same image, so it'll be really flexible, which is great. And then if it's an album, it puts it into a folder, which I think we're just going to ignore any directories in here because it's just more complicated than it has to be for the moment, and we're not really going to miss out on too much. So now that we're all caught up to speed, I got a couple errors as I was running through this, so we're going to have to do some error catching just to make sure. So one of the things that's happening is that if the file already exists, then it throws an error, which is great. So we're going to have to try that. So we're going to put this in try block. And then we want to catch, or is it accept? Yeah. So we're going to do accept, and it's a file exists error. File exists exception. We should go into the actual file and see where that is thrown, what that is. You're going to raise a custom exception. Okay, so we're just going to try capturing an error. If we can do that. I'm not sure how we're going to skip over this, or an exception rather. Alright. And then we're just going to do nothing. Exception occurred. Or we can, and then we can also put in the exception itself. I think. Maybe. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I'm getting all these exceptions only because I've already gone through most of this, and then we're also going to get possibly another exception. Actually, we won't see it. So it'll throw another error if the file doesn't exist, which again, don't care about, really. I don't like that there's sort of no way to go past this. But overall, we can see that there are 54 items in total, and then there are also a few images in each of these directories as well. And I believe that actually sort of lines up with what we have in the spreadsheet. Maybe not. Oh, okay. So some of these other things are on Facebook. So I just want to do incognito and see, can you actually access these posts? I'm sure that there's another library for downloading Facebook images. We're going to be missing out on some, but we can always implement that functionality later. Let's not worry about that right now. We already have a good corpus of images, and I'm just really pleased with how varied these are. So I think we're going to want to create like a 2D list here that has the link of the file name and then our directory as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just going to name this data. I hate it when I do bad programming practices. Okay, so one of our things is Gary Johnson .csv. Gary Johnson / I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through this so that way we're at a good place. It's going to take a little while. Alright. I'm sorry this is such an ugly solution. We could technically just like loop through, say, hey, if the file name ends with .csv, then, you know, set that equal to our stuff. Psh, don't come up with such a smart solution. Just for the moment, I just want us to go through this. So, now that we have this 2D list with the file name and then directory name, I think we're just going to do a 2D array here, or 2D, say, for file name, file dir in data. I hope and think that this will work. File dir. And then we'll say file name. Then we also need to make this file name our df equals pd.readcsv with our file name. I'm going to change this df. And then hopefully this just works off the bat. So we're going through Gary Johnson first, so it's throwing all these errors. Again, just going to fast forward through this part so that way we can get all our images. Alright, so we got an error, which I don't know where it came from. I should probably loop through and just make sure that we are doing the right thing, and just print file name and then print the file dir as well. Make sure this is doing what I think it's doing. Yeah. So I don't know why that error came up. Run this again and see what happens. So the exception was when we're trying to read the CSV and we're reading the rows. So I don't know what's going on here. So it's when we try to read the file name and then it loads in the file. So I'm just going to go ahead and try this as well. There just must be some character that's not in Unicode within one of these CSVs, and it's not the Gary Johnson one. So if we went to like Bernie or Burn, oh, this might be a problem. Yeah, so I'm getting the error that this is loading the wrong decoding. So that's okay. I don't know why these were saved with extraneous characters. Can we look this at Unicode? Unicode. No. I don't know. Yeah, we're just going to try this and then catch our error. Or accept Python. Unicode decode error. Print Unicode error. And I believe that we can also nest these guys, which makes sense. And hopefully this keeps us going. Feels really tedious to do this. Okay, there we go. We're finally actually printing something out. So it must have been something in the Bernie thing that we were saying that we're having these characters, but thankfully this is downloading everything. So for some reason, I have no idea why, we didn't get everything, and we got as far as like I'm with her and Jill Stein. So I'm curious if like Kane and the rest of these guys, their CSV files have one of two things. One being that all the images are Facebook images, which is probably unlikely. The more likely reason, I guess, is that they have invalid characters. It looks like there's some invalid characters. I'm not sure what is going on. Alright, so I found... So with this try catch block, try accept block, because Python things, when we get a Unicode error on the outside here, it just skips over the entire file, which, I mean, makes sense, but that sort of sucks because it's quite unfortunate. Just want to test this out, see if I can do a data frame equals pd.readcsv, and I just want to say hillary.csv. Just see if that works. Cannot decode bytes in position 94 through 95. Going to do some research, see if I can get rid of this error, but it's not a big deal if we can't. Alright, thankfully I went into here and you can see exactly what they're doing. We have to set this encoding variable to this kind of encoding. Why they did it like that, no one will ever know. So when we're doing this, we need to say, well, we have it. We just say encoding equals this guy. So let's try running this again. Well, we don't have it on there, so move that. We expect the exceptions to occur because those files already exist. But hopefully we will not be skipping over the other CSV files. And this is good. You can see that we're actually getting new files in here, which I would like to believe is because we set the encoding properly. Alright, so I think we're looking good for this. And I just really want to say, like, I get that pretty much everything I've done on this project, these past 5 episodes of 100 Days of Code, haven't been machine learning. But if you get in a machine learning job, if you get in any programming job, you're not going to just be doing that exact specific thing. You're going to be doing other things. You're going to have to learn, like especially for data science and AI, like you're going to have to learn how do you download files off the internet, how do you scrape things. Like you might already have it in a central database, but even if you only had it in a local database, you still have to figure out, okay, how do I connect to that database with Python? How do I download that data? I guess you wouldn't download it, but how do I iterate through that data and get the results that I want? Alright, so now we have a ton of images coming in. This is going to take a while, so I'm going to loop through that. But yeah, I just want to say that because like this whole process of being a programmer, being a AI programmer, and developer and researcher, like it's multifaceted. You have to know like all steps. So even like figuring out why your Conda environment has Python 2.7 instead of 3.7. I don't understand, but it's all good. Alright, I'll be back after this finishes downloading. Okay, so this takes a while to download everything, but I sort of understand why the dataset just had links to the images now. I added this image counter in here, so I max got 250 images for each CSV file, and this is all I added here. Of course, all the code will be up on the GitHub repository, which is linked down in the description, updated after every episode, so that way you can just get the most up-to-date code. But yeah, I don't really feel the need to get more than that for the time being, just because some of these guys, like Clinton's CSV, had 6,300 images. Now all of those want to be downloaded because they're like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, but you know, I don't want to download that many photos anyways, and that sort of leaves this folder being let's see, just under a gig. So you know, we have a good corpus of images to go through. So now that we finally downloaded all the images that we need, I think I'm also going to do a little restructuring. I'll get into that later, but I think I want to put all of these under like a nice little folder that I can use the get ignore to not put these up on Git. Now that we were here, let's look at the agenda that I wrote yesterday. We did all that stuff. Oh, I guess we pretty much did all that. So basically, now a few things need to happen. Now that we've actually gotten the images downloaded, we're still going to need to loop through the data frame again to have that link going to each image with its particular ID. Now the real question is, was it smart to put everything under its own little folder? Because I'm not sure, but it's okay. We can regret this later. So I'm going to create a new file because this is sort of just for downloading the images. We're going to name it meme trainer. And what do we need for this? We need to import pandas. It's PD. We're probably going to need some numpy stuff. It's np. We're going to import sklearn. I need to install that. That's a good thing to install now. I'm going to install sklearn. I think that's how you use it. I think it is sk-learn. No, it's like, I always mess this up. It's scikit-learn, I think. Yeah, it's frustrating that's named that, out of all things. Alright. So I was trying to do my math homework. That wasn't working out too well. Alright, I sort of need to think through what we're going to do. Alright, I propose a new agenda, one that doesn't suck. What do we need? Alright, so basically we're going to need to loop through the data frame again. This time, matching the ID to file name, so that way we can load in the image, and then just basically somehow train the image using the text given. How are we going to do that? No clue. What's going on like with this stuff? Oh, okay, that text actually is in there. I was like, is this a attack? Alright, so that's basically our text. I think I'm going to give myself some time to think this over, because we have some stuff to do. We're definitely going to be using sklearn. We're probably also going to be using CV2, which is OpenCV for image recognition stuff. And I'm going to have to do lots of researching. But I sort of want to get this video out to show the progress that I'm slowly making on the project. So thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll have another video out very shortly with me actually implementing the machine learning model. Things are just sort of crazy right now with how busy I am with school. So I want to probably make these videos a little bit shorter and just have more content jam-packed into them and know what I'm doing when I start a little bit more. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.